Good afternoon, everyone. Scott here with Phantasma, and we've got our first installment of SOULdier Stories. I've got G-Man on the line on the other end, and boy, what a day this has been. And I owe a public apology to everyone because we just had a fantastic first SOULdier story, and this is now round two. We had some good practice. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm running into some technical challenges today, and it's just been one of those days that I know the stream is just, it's not stable, and I need to get it solved. And but we're enough to be able to go live. I've got, we've got G-Man on the line as well. I'm going to bring him over in just a little bit. I got a couple of housekeeping items that I want to address before we get into that. So we want to have these live events and on a regular basis for the Phantasma community. And I'm just looking at some numbers here. I probably shouldn't be because, you know, I'm running a show, doing some editing, producing, and acting at the same time. And I just want to be focused on delivering good content. Now, SOULdier Stories is going to be once a month. And what we're doing is just getting an insight into different community members on... There, we're back. Okay, I got to stop looking at that screen. And bringing in different community members and learning about their story and what makes them tick in regards to Phantasma, what excites them in regards to the project. And I think relating to individual stories is something that's it's important to understand the people behind the community and the project. And if there's one thing that is just a common theme between soldiers and fans are elements in our story of how we learned a little bit about the project and just started peeling different layers back. And it was amazing the time at the beginning of this year of 2020 when I started to learn about this project and the capabilities that this project can do. Now, there really was not a lot of users utilizing the Phantasma chain, just speculators at that time. Since then, 22 Racing Series has had their beta launch. But it's not still not even fully open, and there's still some features in 22 Racing Series that are very important. Thanks, Jesse. Boy, oh boy, what a day it's been. I appreciate your support of coming on and saying hello. But we went through it and had a good discussion about House of NFT, but I'm going to get to that later on in the show once we start having a discussion with G-Man here. And then last week we did the state of the chain. And the objective of the state of the chain is a quarterly event that is similar to like a CEO that's talking to their shareholders. You're going to have Bill and Sergio at different times talking about where the chain is and what the company is doing and what you should expect in the next 3 months and what have we done in the last 3 months. SOULdier Stories is going to be monthly, just engaging with different audiences and whatnot. And then finally, different AMAs. And we've got different AMAs lined up over the next 4 weeks with Vincent and Blood Ruin, and I can't wait for Blood Ruin. If you don't know anything about this game, it is just awesome. It's like, I'm a geek, and when I was younger, I used to play D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, and now that I've gotten older, on occasion, I'll pull it out and have some whiskey with the hockey friends and play, but Blood Ruin is taking that RPG to a whole different level. It's exciting. The game is really, really cool, and it's very different. So, you know, now we're starting to see users utilizing this chain and businesses running on the chain on a regular basis. Dude, Chilling with Ron, I love the name. That's awesome. I am sorry. I've got to take full responsibility. I was running into some technical problems prior to this about 2.5 hours ago, and when we went to go live with it, I didn't hit the big red button on YouTube that says go live. I hit the go live on the software, and G-Man and I went through an awesome discussion. I'm looking at him right now, and he's smiling, giggling at me. He's laughing. So I appreciate the support, guys, for coming back. But I just wanted to cover those items of some of these live events that are coming out throughout the show. We're going to talk about a couple of other marketing elements that are coming down the chain and the pipeline. But today is about G-Man, and his story is pretty cool. And his history is pretty cool. He's worked with alongside and went face to face with celebrities and musicians, and what I find fascinating about him is how he's had these exciting times in his life and whatnot, and finds equitable excitement working with Phantasma and investing in Phantasma. So, on that note, everything seems to be looking good, and we're going to switch over to G-Man, and your little red light should be on, dude. Welcome. I need some clapping.
Hey, all right, again.
This one's being recorded, so now we have proof of all of this and our little laughing. But thanks,
okay,
man.
That's good.
Thanks for coming on and giving us your time today.
Yeah, no problem. Pleasure to be here.
I think some of our viewers are gonna get a good understanding of in relation to you and be able to relate. But first off, whereabouts are you, man? Where are you in this world? I mean, I hear an accent. I know where you are, but let's.
Well, up to about 3 months ago, I was in London for the last 25 years, so working. But I lost my job due to COVID back in June. But it's okay. It was wasn't a bad time for a career change. And I moved to a small village down in the very southeast of England.
Wow, that sounds divine. Did you sell any soul?
I've kind of.
Did you sell your soul when you lost your job due to COVID?
You must be joking. No chance. So, no, not for a long time. I'm a long-term hodler. That won't be happening for any time soon.
And you were in the hospitality industry, weren't you?
In the gambling industry. So, worked in the gambling industry for 30 years, but in a very high capacity, working with very, very high net worth clients. So, Far Eastern princes and Arab princes, kings, queens, politicians, movie stars, sports stars, footballers. I don't get starstruck about anybody. So never get starstruck apart from one guy who was a legend for my soccer team here in England. And when he came, I had to deal with him. I just lost it. I got tongue-tied and made a complete fool and embarrassed myself. But anyone else, the biggest film stars in the world, there's nothing. They're just normal people, nice people. So, but it's I'm not fazed by hospitality, by networking with people, by just making contacts with people. To take it all in my stride.
So I bet you've seen some celebrities and names that we all know of lose some big money.
Celebrities generally don't tend to lose big money. It's a complete and utter myth. It's high net worth businessmen and very wealthy Far Eastern and Arab people who seem to have a lot of disposable income. But the celebrities, I've never seen a real big celebrity that's lost money that you think they probably can't afford to lose or anything like that. They very much play within their means.
Huh. Well, okay. Interesting. I mean, I'm not a gambler, but I had a dog named Vegas because Las Vegas was one of my favorite cities. It's just an incredibly fun city, and been there a dozen times. And
I was there last year.
Yeah, it's just awesome. But when I do go to Las Vegas, I'll say $100 for tonight, and that's it. And I'll gamble for the sake of entertainment, and I'm okay to walk away from it. And it is truly entertaining. There's a lot of fun. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, best way. Best way. Always play within your means. Play for
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
So
and
yeah,
that's what it's there for. Hmm. Yeah, the gambling culture over here in America has really changed in the last decade too, or at least where I live in Illinois, because there's these little gambling machines everywhere now, in your restaurants and in your gas stations and petrol stations. That's probably as you call it. Just
gambling's quite commonplace in the UK.
interesting.
And yeah, Europe is kind of embraces. Not necessarily embraces it, but it's well regulated, and but you'll find slot machines in pretty much most bars and bars, pubs, clubs in the UK. It's not uncommon.
Hmm. Well, that's cool, man. Um, but we're here to talk a little bit about crypto, and it's nice to learn a little bit about yourself. And you're a family man. You've got 2 kids, right?
Three. I've got an older girl and two boys.
Okay. The boys are gamers, I know, because you're wearing one of their headsets right now, the gaming headset that you probably paid for. You says darn right.
Yeah. My youngest son is a crazy Ark Survival, Ark Evolved fan. Plays it all the time. He's a Fortnite fan and Minecraft. And my older son is mad about Call of Duty Warzone. So they spend hours on it. So not engaging with their dad, but yeah, they're happy. They're online with their friends. It's all good.
Yeah, it is. Different world that we live in. My son's at home and out of school, but what a way to spend your high school years. I remember my 10th grade. They call them sophomores here. I still have to think about that every time, Grade 9, grade 10, grade 11 over in Canada, but here it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Yeah.
So, listen, we're here to talk a little bit about crypto, and I'm sure that Phantasma is not the only project that you're invested in, correct?
No, I have quite a diversified portfolio, but nothing to I don't commit anything like I do to them that I do to Phantasma. That's the project that really drew me in. It's my passion in crypto, but I keep an eye on the other ones. I engage very slightly, but really not very much. It's Phantasma gets all my attention.
And when did you start in cryptocurrency? When did you make your first investment?
Just at the wrong time. Got into it completely by accident. I owed a friend some money. I used to run a fantasy football competition at work, and one of the guys moved back to China, and he won that particular month, and I owed him some money. So I contacted him and said, look, I need your bank details. I've got to pay it in, or do you want to wait till the end of the season and I'll pay you then? And he said, no, send me the money now. He said, I'm investing in something called cryptocurrency, and I need the money straight away. So I said, oh, okay, well, what's this cryptocurrency, And over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we went backwards and forwards with some messaging. This was March 2018. So, all the hype had happened. December 2017, it hit the all-time high. And he just introduced me to crypto. I wish he'd won the money maybe about a year later. Would have probably saved me quite a bit of money. So, but yeah, so I spent 2018 just going down the rabbit hole, researched Bitcoin and watched YouTube videos. I didn't jump in straight away. I did my research. I thought I did everything right. And these YouTubers and influencers were saying, don't panic, just dollar cost average down, it'll all turn around. And well, that was a pretty rough ride for about 18 months. But I was hooked, and that was it. I was fascinated by crypto. I had no interest in stocks. It's something that moves 1 or 2% in. It just doesn't interest me. I was excited by the movement of crypto, by the gains, by the developing tech. Just researched more and more and more. And then about September, October 2018, I was looking at watching a rather annoying English YouTuber who I really disliked, but he just happened to talk about. I caught it by accident. I was looking for something else, and I saw this. He did an article about Phantasma, and I thought, oh, okay, interesting name. What's this about? So I watched it, and I actually liked the idea. I liked the decentralized mail and chat and storage, and I thought this is good. Content creation, decentralized content creation. I thought this is good. This is interesting. At the time, my son was interested in making YouTube videos. He wanted to do gaming videos, and I thought, okay, well, this could be interesting. So I just followed the project for a while, and then anyone who knows, anyone who's in the community, you get talking to Bill, you get talking to Jay, you get talking to Lee Kai, you ask Sergio a question, and you engage with these guys, and they just made it so interesting, and so everything was so positive about the direction of where it was going. And then with having two gaming sons, once the NFT thing really started to hit home with me, and I was like, wow, what this can do with NFTs, with art, with land titles, with music, with gaming, especially for my son. My son has bled me dry over the years financially with some of his purchases, skins for this and purchases for that, and I said to him, do you understand the excitement that when you finish playing this game, you can sell your items, get some of your money back, move on, play another game, or that in the future, items you can use you'll be able to use in another game as well. They'll be interoperable. And he doesn't get it. He's 13 years old. He just doesn't get it right now. My older son thinks it's fascinating, but my youngest son is just slowly starting to understand the excitement of NFTs and what they can do. And so yeah, it's been a great journey. I like being in the community. I like being able to pick the brains of the community. And yeah, it's just once you engage with Bill and Vincent and Jay, you learn and you just keep learning.
That's amazing. That's like, so you shared your story of how you got involved in crypto. You started to do some research like an educated investor would, based off anything. You stumbled across this project called Phantasma a couple of years ago. You start peeling back some of the layers, and you're impressed by the technology, and you then put a bigger portion of your investment heavy on this Phantasma side, based off of the technology and based off of the community of people. Does that sound about right?
Yep, it's bang on.
Amazing.
Exactly.
See, that bang on. That's fascinating, because I have a very different path, but that's the exact same experiences I went through. And my path was that I was introduced to Phantasma at the beginning of this year from a friend. And it was actually a parent of. I'm a hockey coach, and I coach this dude's children, and I'm a trader, a stock trader, and called him up one day to talk a little bit about stock trading, and he says, well, I'm involved in crypto, and so we started talking, and maybe sometime I'll share my story on some of the steps of how I made that first investment, but I was so terrified to take $500, immediately $500 and put it into this cryptocurrency that I did not understand. Once I started to understand what blockchain really was, and I don't like the term cryptocurrency. It's just, I don't know. I feel like that there's a negative connotation to crypto, but blockchain is the technology that drives cryptocurrencies, and the technology of blockchain. Ever since I started to learn about it, I now believe that blockchain technology is going to be involved in every one of our lives within a decade, one way or another.
I agree.
Like, the use cases for it are fascinating. You had mentioned, just from the gaming side of it, blockchain technology gaming is just a small piece of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm excited by the art side of with NFTs. I've been compiling a list gradually of about 250 artists, 300 artists that I want to contact and chase and bring them to the chain, make them understand how cheap it is to mint on Phantasma. It's going to save them a lot of dollars. How much faster it is, how much more efficient it is. I've got a handful of friends ready to go. They've got artwork that they've done. They're excited to put it on the chain. And then they tell their friends and they tell their friends and let's hopefully it will grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you've got a list of artists. These artists have YouTube channels. Share a little bit about what you're doing here and why for Phantasma.
Because I very much believe that if you're going to invest in a project, you should protect your investment. It's in your interest to protect your investment, and people just don't sit on your hands. And I've been a little bit rough on a couple of people in the Telegram group recently, but I believe that don't sit on your hands. Don't just let your investment sit there and then complain about the price. If you're doing nothing, if you're hands-on, if you're writing, if you're networking, if you're trying to promote something to do with Phantasma, use your skills. What are your abilities? Get involved in the project. And so I just kind of thought, the minting stores coming up, let's think about who I said this to you, a while back in the chat, that I think with one game at the moment, obviously we're excited about more games coming on the chain next year. But with the one game, it's harder to promote to gamers right now. That will come in time. But for artists, this is a great time for artists to be coming on chain and minting on Phantasma. So I just spent the last couple of weeks just compiling a list of our digital artists that are mainly on Twitter. Some have their own Telegram pages. You have to go and find where they display their art. Some of them have their own websites. Some of them are easily contacted by email. But let's see if we can get them over and see how cheap it is to build on Phantasma, or we can organically grow the artist space.
That's really exciting. I mean, that's a true use case, and we've seen some evidence and success of it. But of course, anybody that understands the technology of Phantasma, compared to an artist that wants to take their art that they've drawn and digitize it and sell it as an NFT, it's slow and expensive on Ethereum. And it's going to be incredibly inexpensive and easy and a beautiful interface with no programming knowledge, that you could take a digital asset, like a painting, and create an NFT out of that. And anybody who understands what truly an NFT is gets it. It's fascinating. Actually, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to have another guest on today's show. And I got to apologize because of the whole technical aspects, and we chose not to have that third guest. But he's a musician, and we are going to play a video for him in a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about this musician down the road. But we are on the brink of the music industry that. Well, let me take a step back here. I think about it like, from the 1920s and everything in our life and business tends to have cycles and, repeats and patterns. I mean, trading stocks on the stock markets, it's all about patterns. It's exactly that. It's just patterns. I mean, everything that we're experiencing right now of the altcoin industry or altcoin market being slightly suppressed, it's suppressed across the board. And we've seen this before when Bitcoin goes on its particular runs. It's not going to take long. Once Bitcoin starts to stabilize and you've got all these new investors into this new cryptocurrency, especially because of PayPal, they're going to go through some of the pathways that you've gone through and I go through. And what's more out there? Let me learn about different projects. And a lot of that money funnels down into altcoins. So, I mean, I'm not going to make a prediction and say we're going to have a nice nice bearish or bullish run or anything of that nature. But I believe that with this particular project, people that use it, the company is going to grow. And businesses have been around, and that's the fundamental core of businesses for eons. But getting back to some of these initiatives that you're taking of reaching out to artists, and that's what you're doing for the community. Tell me a little bit about the Writers Lounge. And when I put this thing out there, I said Mark Twain. Who's Mark Twain? And what's that about?
Okay, you have to blame Jay for that. So we put together a group of writers. I've never really got into writing articles or anything like that, but we put our heads together. There's about 5 of us involved at the moment. We'd love to have more people on board. So if there's anyone out there with writing skills or who wants to contribute, then go through Bill or Lee, and I'm sure they'll bring you on board. So there's been about 5 of us, and we've just put out a couple of articles. It's been good. It's nice, just a bit of teamwork and work together, try and produce some good content, make things a little bit easier for some people to understand. It's been only been going for a few weeks now, a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll have another article out within the next few days or something like that. I think Jay's hoping to get about 2 a month out. Just a bit more information, spread the word. So, it's been really good so far. I've enjoyed it.
I work in the business of search engine optimization, and when I first moved to the United States in 2005, even though you get married right away, you don't get the green card right away. That takes a year and a half, and so the only way for me to generate income was just to start a business and hire people. And I have a marketing degree, and I was in business-to-business sales for software to the transportation industry, so I figured, well, I'll start a marketing company, and that's where it all started for me. By 2009, I was teaching marketing and teaching search engine optimization, and that's where I really, really coveted myself as my core competency is an SEO. And getting into the Phantasma community, SEO was one of these elements for Bill to be focused on. And search engine optimization, being in it for nearly 20 years, that industry has grown significantly. I go back to 2005, and I tried to talk to a business owner about it. It was like the deer in the headlight look. I don't need a website. Nobody's going to be looking for me. Well, here we are 10, 12 years later, and everybody's got these little things in their hands. I mean, these little phones were not available when I started. But the point where I'm going with this is search engine optimization is the process of getting websites to the top of Google, and Google's an algorithm, and the Google algorithm over the last 20 years has gotten closer and closer and closer to human behavior. That's all it's really trying to replicate and mimic. So when I'm teaching SEO, I say to people, it's just marketing. That's it. You're not chasing an algorithm here. You're not trying to get X number of links and this type of keyword density and whatnot. And good marketing is transparency and exposure. That's all that marketing is. You could go to the AMA, the American Marketing Association's website, and say, the definition of it, and it's creating content that resonates with an audience and distributing that to an audience that is going to consume it. Well, getting back to the Writers Lounge and rating content and the process for that, yes, it is driven by SEO, but the bottom line is it's marketing. It's important for Phantasma to create content that's going to resonate with their audience and distribute it where they are, like Medium. Where our most recent article was. And if you haven't seen that article yet, it's a wonderful, wonderful article that really understands the benefits of NFTs, not the technical jargon, which just goes over my head, but understanding what is it going to do for us. Now, what is this going to do? How is this going to work for artists? What is it going to do for artists? Why are you so passionate right now about going after artists? What is it going to do for them?
Well, I think I've seen the impact that it's having on Ethereum with sites like Rarible and stuff like that. The digital art is taking off in a big way, and as I said before, I love the idea of the music side, but it's not really my thing. I'm not vastly experienced in digital art, but I have a few friends that are involved in it. I can pick their brains, but from my side of view, it's more about, I think that is a great use case for NFT minting. More so than gaming at the moment. I will go after all the gamers, that I can in 6 months' time when we have more games on chain. But for now, I think art is the way to go. And so, yeah, made my list, and I'll be just networking people for the next couple of months, and just trying to bring attention over. And yeah, as I said before, we want some nice organic growth, and people will tell their friends, they'll tell their friends, and we'll hopefully we'll have people tweeting about us. If we can pull in one or two really big digital artists, then that's all you need. Boom, boom. So it will take off. They'll tweet about the site, and yeah, and it'll be exciting.
So I'm going to challenge you on the spot here, dude. What's the value statement of Phantasma when you are speaking to some of these artists?
You've only got to come and see the fees that it's going to cost these guys to mint their NFTs. So this is the big thing for them. I still haven't had that discussion about whether artists are set in their ways and they don't care about paying the extra fees to mint. But I think when you start, doing limited editions of maybe 50 or 100, you're going to start seeing some serious fee differences in the fees of what we can do on Phantasma compared to what you're going to be doing on Ethereum. So I think we'll tease them a little bit. So maybe get them trying it out, and just so they can just see for themselves the difference.
Well, Goaty, I mean, they minted what, 280,000 NFTs?
Mm-hmm.
What would that cost on Ethereum, you think?
You say, well, I've had this discussion. It was estimated maybe 300,000.
Yeah,
you're looking at $300,000. So it's a fraction of that. It's an absolute fraction for you to do it on Phantasma.
300.
So I don't know exactly, but 300 grand roughly to have minted the same things, on Phantasma on Ethereum.
And I think it cost Goaty about $6,000 or $7,000 in KCAL to mint 300,000.
People will come over. It's inevitable, and it's going to be exciting. We'll see where we go. But first things first is, once we've launched, that we'll go after these people in a nice way. I'm not going to hassle people. I'm not going to, it's not a shill fest. It's about understanding that we can offer them a fast, efficient, scalable chain with low minting fees. We cater for them in every way, and let's see if we can get people using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's really exciting. I mean, that's going to lead into some of the discussion we'll have a little bit later on. Well, actually, we're already half an hour in, but we were supposed to have another guest on today at the end of the show, and that would be Jesse from House of NFT. And Jesse's a musician, and his story is really cool. We do have Jesse lined up for an AMA in a few weeks after self-minting is launched. But Jesse's launching a video today on his channel. So after this show, you've got to head over there. It premieres. It launches at 4:15 p.m. And I'm actually just going to shoot over. Might as well play that clip right now. We'll do that. Then maybe we can continue our discussion on NFTs. So we'll be right back. Listen.
Musicians, if you're not minting NFTs of your music, you're leaving money on the table. While the art world is currently undergoing a dramatic rebirth online, the music world has had its worst year ever. With 40,000 new songs showing up on Spotify every day trying to compete for fractions of a cent, and 90% of all live music venues planning to close for good in the next few months, it's possible that becoming a musician is the only life decision worse than becoming a YouTuber.
YouTuber and musician. Not going to get rich being a YouTuber and musician, but that's the real challenge, man. I've been doing some research on the music industry, and in the 1920s, the music industry really had a hard time, and humans, history repeats itself, and we're seeing the exact same thing 80 years later. And between the 20s and the 40s, these little things came out, little gadgets where I could listen to music for free. It was a radio. And it wasn't until the 40s that it took a cultural change, and musicians found different ways to be able to connect with their audience, and albums and live music, and the car industry really drove all of that, and people can now go to concerts and blah 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 blah, and it flourished. But it is said that the last decade is the worst decade for musicians in recent history. And this individual found Phantasma in a very similar way that you found Phantasma, and through YouTube, through an influencer, started to learn about the tech, and he recognized that Phantasma was going to solve a problem for musicians. That, dude, gives me goosebumps when we recognize that Phantasma is solving problems. You hear Garth's story, Goaty partnered with Phantasma because it solved a problem for Goaty. It allowed them to create the video game that they really wanted to create. What do you think are going to be some of the problems for artists when you approach them that you're going to help solve?
Oof, you put me on the spot.
I did.
Problems for artists. I think that what I'm doing is, from my point of view, I'm networking people who are already creating digital art and are already producing NFTs, just doing it on Ethereum. My ultimate plan is to do my bit for the community, to pull these people over to Phantasma. So these guys, I'm not introducing artists per se straight away to digital art for a first time. I'm going after people who are already producing digital art, who are already used to minting NFTs on other sites, and so I don't see too many problems. It just depends on how set in their ways, staying on Ethereum they want to be, so how comfortable they are. But if it comes down to cost, then the people they'll come over and see what we can do, what we offer. So it's inevitable.
And I think that's the biggest problem that personally I think we're going to solve for a lot of these artists is the cost of distribution. I think you nailed it. And sorry to put you on the spot on that one. I know we had prepared some questions, but sometimes I...
Well, during my research, I've noticed that I've listed where a lot of the artists like to listing their digital art, and whether it be a Rareable or NFT Showroom, Maker's Place, the Super Rare, all these different websites. Quite a lot of the artists, maybe 50-60% of the 300 that I've listed, will list their art in 2 or 3 places. So it's not going to be a strange thing for them to come over and use Phantasma. Very, very few of the artists that I've listed only operate on one platform, on one area. So I don't think it's going to be a huge problem to persuade people just to come over and see what we can offer for them. So, and I'm sure when they see how good it is, how good the tech is, that a lot of them will stay. So.
Well, there's a few things here that are pointing out, learning about your story of how you found Phantasma, number one. And then once you got to Phantasma, starting to peel some of those layers back, you had made reference to the community and the accessibility of the community. You had made reference to the leadership of Bill and Sergio. And I concur, that's a part of my story too, that when one of the first things I did was buy a computer so I can play this video game. I figured if this video game was legitimately good, this is a project I want to invest in. So I went, sorry guys, I went to the dark side, apologized to all my Mac friends, and bought a PC and loved it. And the other side of that was, I feel like every single successful organization needs a quality CEO. And a good quality CEO has one thing in common versus every other CEO, and that's a vision. And that led me to Bill. And I really was impressed by him from the first time that I heard him speak. And Sometimes you got to kind of really, really listen to what he's saying, because he's saying a lot of stuff almost under his breath a little bit. Not quite as challenging as Sergio to understand. Sergio's just in a whole different world of thinking. But the leadership with this organization, I thought was solid. And you've got the product, you've got the leadership, but you have no users. Now, today, we have users on the chain. Not a lot, but that's definitely coming. And it sounds like you went through some of the same experiences I did. Identifying our time. Now, let's lead to you getting involved with the project. You had mentioned you were in the hospitality industry, which we all know took a shit this year in 2020. People all around the globe no longer have work, and you've been spending some time. You do have a new career in front of you, but you are spending some time inside of Phantasma and writing. We now know who Mark Twain is, and you are also reaching out to different influencers there, and you're saying, well, that's part of protecting your investment, but at the same time, it reminds me of, like, in marketing, we learn about psychology a lot. And whether you're talking about NLP, neuro-logistic programming, or just understanding the psychological elements of people, there's 6 influential factors that I study from an author called Robert Cialdini. Brilliant man. And those factors of influence are so apparent in our community. It's profound. That where I'm going with this is motivation. And you say, I'm here to protect my money, which the motivating factor is money. But that's not the number one motivating factor for people to do something. It's involvement, and it's being a part of something new, and more than that, being heard. And so you had mentioned, you get to come to this community, you get to give some input and some directions, you get to some work. Psychologically, that's driving your gas tank more than your investment.
Well, 2.5 years ago, when I first came into crypto, everything was completely new. It was something I knew nothing about, and I took time to learn. But last year, after about a year of being in crypto, I heard people saying, I came for the money and I stayed for the tech. And it didn't completely resonate with me back then, because I was only in it for the money. I just wanted to see my coins pump, and I was going to get rich and make a fortune. Mm-hmm. And the more I spent time in the Phantasma community, you meet some great people. There's some great people that have been in there a long time, and you just learn about the project, and you think this is going to be an organic growth for us. Like I said before, once the games come out and the minting factory gets used, and it's just going to gather momentum, in a really, really nice pace. But something just drew me in. Maybe I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think the confidence in the team was huge for me. Absolutely huge. You see these guys working, they under promise and over deliver, not the other way around, and that's always been important. So if people get what they're doing and give them the patience, they'll realize that we're producing something pretty special, and that's something I want to be involved in.
Wow, that's awesome. We're both dads, and I can't think of anything more grateful in life than being a father to my children. It's great. But okay, you're kind of getting emotional a little bit. I'm thinking about that. I just love it. And this project has brought my family together. And I got something here I want to show you. Some of you may know that my son works for Garth Godey, and he's doing some streaming. And so we're setting up his room. He's got a new streaming room with his new computer, and we just made these together last night. It's a wood sign, and got to teach Ashton, a little bit about the CNC machine, and then we went out and we started to do some, painting it together, and he's going to have that on his backdrop, and now he's learning, different streaming elements, and, we're working together, and it was like, I never knew at the beginning of this year that I would be sharing in these types of events with my son. At the same time, we're making money. He's learning about crypto. He's learning about finance. He's learning about saving. He's learning about hardships of losses. Let's face it, the altcoin market right now is in a little bit of a slump, but that's a pattern. It happens every time Bitcoin runs like this. And it's a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of people are coming into Bitcoin and learning about crypto and use case, and then that money will funnel down. But yeah,
my older son's excited. My older son is excited about it. My younger son doesn't quite get it yet. he just doesn't quite get that he can sell his in-game items, use them in other games eventually, trade them, move on, move into his next game. So instead of just wasting my money. So he doesn't quite get it yet. He thinks it's a bit boring when I start talking about blockchain to him. But he's coming around slowly. So and I think in the next couple of years, he's gonna really see the difference in gaming.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. That's good. Now, we've been at this for 48 minutes. The target was to be 45 minutes, so we are getting towards the end here. Our intention was to bring on Jesse from House of NFT, and I did play that video. And GM. And I did digress a little bit. That video is being launched in 30 minutes. 32 minutes from today, from now, not from today, this video is going to be available. It's a 15-minute video. I think it's important because I think that the music industry is ready for change. And I think Jesse is at the forefront of this musical revolution. In fact, he's put his foot down. And his story is pretty awesome. I wanted to get into it, but again, it's identical, very similar to ours. That find somebody through crypto, YouTube, and builds a little bit of trust. Comes to the project, starts learning about the project, peeling the layers back, believes in the project. He recognizes that Phantasma, and it's kind of cool because he, as a musician, he's like Soul, perfect name of a coin for musicians, Soul. And if you know anything about Chicago, we're the blues town here. Lots of blues music and soul music. I could just hear it in my head. But I go on. So guys, I want you to head over to the House of NFT, hit the subscribe button to him, listen to his content. And the reason why I say that is this is another community member, just like G-Man here, that has gone through the same process and understand. And once you get the tech, it's profound. I mean, the technology we have is literally second to none. I could see here Bill correcting me with ETH costs. And, what it would have cost Goaty. Uh-oh. What's going on in my computer? My monitor's just turned off there. We're back. And what... you guys are probably going to see a little glitchy. What's going on here? Oh, because I'm pulling on that. My bad. He said it would have been more than $300,000. I mean, it would have been $500,000. I think he had made that reference. Sorry about that glitch. That was my fault. I pull on I have 4 monitors here, and I pull on my headset, and it pulls a thing, and it just shuts everything down. And I just want to perform a show here. I don't want to worry about the technology. But yeah, head over and watch that. It's exciting. I'm really excited to see it. We've got G-Man here that is making efforts for reaching out to the artistic community over the next couple of months, and come January, it's going to be a different game. So, dude, I think we've covered our questions here, and I know we didn't touch on everything that we did on our practice round we did an hour ago.
That's okay.
You might have.
We can do it. We can do it again another time as well.
I won't forget. I think I said I owe you a bottle of wine for that one.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen. Go and support House of NFT. Let's get his subs up on his YouTube channel. I had the pleasure of talking to him the other night with you, and he's what an interesting guy.
Yeah.
He's got some amazing passion, and it was fun to listen to him. He's really, really interesting. So let's hope we can all get behind him and support him.
Well, I think that's the theme of this, and I think the theme of yourself. You know, you bring so much passion to this project, so much help. I'm inspired by what you've done and how long you've been here, and I know I haven't been a part of the community nearly as long as, not even half as long as you. But it's people like you that are going to make this organization successful. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Pleasure to come on and talk to you.
Yeah, it sounds good, folks. And this is going to be the end of it. So we'll switch over. Thanks, G-Man.
Yeah, pleasure. See you again soon.